On April 4th of 2020, a well-planned execution took place outside a house on Etna Drive, Ardoyne, in North Belfast. Robbie Lawler's life was brutally cut short by multiple shots from an assassin's gun. The gunman struck swiftly and methodically, leaving Lawler no chance to escape. As soon as Lawler entered the hallway of the house, his attacker burst in through the back. Lawler tried to flee, bolting for the front door, but as bullet after bullet penetrated his skull, he slumped to the ground beside a garden gate, fatally injured. Speculations about the motive and perpetrator of this ruthless assassination soon began to swirl in the shadowy world of organized crime. And police commented that he wasn't at the house by accident, he had been lured there. Welcome back to Crime Chronicles. Today we take a look at the death of Irish gangland figure Robbie Lawler. Why was he killed, and why have his killers still not been brought to justice? Few names struck fear into the hearts of Ireland's citizens like Robbie Lawler. Best described as a complete psychopath, he was despised and feared throughout both gangland and Dublin's communities. Lawler's dark journey from a petty teenage criminal to one of Ireland's most infamous gunmen is a tale of violence, revenge, and betrayal, culminating in a shocking murder on the streets of Belfast. Originally hailing from Dublin, but finding refuge in County Meath, Lawler was deeply entrenched in the dangerous world of organised crime, particularly the Drogheda feud. With over 100 convictions, he was no stranger to the police radar, and his ruthless reputation earned him countless enemies. Released from prison in December 2019, Lawler's life was immediately marked with a grim warning from the police. His life was in danger. But warnings alone couldn't protect him from the slew of enemies he had amassed over the years. As 2020 unfolded, the threats against Lawler became increasingly grave. Seeking safety, he fled to Belfast in Northern Ireland, unaware that this move would lead to his tragic demise. Hiding above a Tesco store on University Road in South Belfast, Lawler's last refuge became a deadly trap. Days before the murder, on the evening of April 1st, 3 members of the notorious McCarthy Dundon gang drove up to Lawler's apartment. His pal, Quincy Bramble, approached Lawler's flat and lured him to the front door, while Levi Killeen, the 17-year-old son of the notorious gangster John Dundon, kept his distance and stayed out of sight. As Lawler unsuspectingly came to the front door, Killeen got a good look at his face. A judge was later told that the encounter was set up to ensure that Lawler would be recognized when the fatal blow would strike, insinuating that Killeen would be the shooter. It's a theory that would have been backed by CCTV records, leading many to believe they were part of the hit team. However, the police service of Northern Ireland claimed that they checked and found no evidence of the trio being involved in Lawler's death. 3 days later, Lawler was executed, and his murder has been the subject of major police investigations ever since. Lawler, known for his violent and ruthless character, was the kind of guy who had enemies everywhere. His involvement in high-profile crimes, including several murders like those of drug dealer Mark Byrne and David Fred Lynch, had made him countless foes. Among them were the factions involved in the deadly Drogheda feud that kicked off as a drugs gang from Drogheda, led by Owen Maguire, but split into 2 factions after Lawler shot and severely injured Maguire in 2018, further fueling the conflict. In addition, he found a serious enemy in Coolock mobster Mr. Big after killing his right-hand man, Kenneth Finn, that same year. Shortly after, Lawler got jailed for the assault of his ex-girlfriend and her new mother-in-law. Moreover, his time in prison had been far from peaceful, as he crossed paths with another of his arch-rivals, Cornelius Price, who aligned with Maguire. There's a story going around that Price had given Lawler the so-called Judas shake, where he'd put out his hand to him, seemingly to bury the hatchet. However, within a couple of hours, Lawler got savagely attacked. The Judas shake incident left Lawler enraged. Upon his release at the end of 2019, Lawler's life was under threat by major figures in the Drogheda feud. Nonetheless, he sought revenge for the murder of his brother-in-law Richard Carberry and blamed Price for Carberry's killing. In January 2020, Lawler took the feud to new heights with the brutal murder of teenager Keen Mulready Woods. Lawler was the prime suspect in the appalling crime, sending shockwaves throughout the criminal underworld. The 17-year-old was lured to a house before being killed and dismembered. That murder changed everything, and the fallout was immense. Price and his associates were furious at the brutality of Keen's death. When Price got out of jail in February of 2020, at the height of the Drogheda feud, he fled to the UK, but vowed he would take revenge on Lawler and end him. But with so many enemies, the question remained: who killed Lawler? Was it Price, the Dundons, Mr. Big's gang, or had Lawler fallen victim to a dark alliance? As far as the suspicion of the Dundons goes, it wasn't just that trio that had gained the attention of authorities. Although they were freed after being questioned, police had also witnessed a handover of cash to McCarthy Dundon gang members from Limerick shortly after Lawler was murdered. Police believed the witnessed €50,000 payment was made for their assistance in luring Lawler to the scene. Clearly there were strong ties between the Dundons and Cornelius Price. After all, they were later arrested in the UK for an extortion plot that eventually earned Ger Dundon a 15-year prison sentence. But more people may well be connected to Lawler's murder. As the investigation continued, another suspect was arrested and questioned. Drug dealer Warren Crossan was believed to have provided the getaway car that was used after the hit. Crossan was the son of murdered dissident Republican chief Tommy Crossan. Just 2 months after Lawler was gunned down, Warren Crossan was murdered at his mother's house in Crumlin, said to be targeted in what is believed to be a revenge attack following Lawler's death. Remarkably, Crossan's name also popped up in the previously mentioned extortion plot orchestrated by Ger Dundon. Money was the driving force, allegedly owed to Warren Crossan. The twist in this dark tale, however, lies in the fact that Crossan had already met his end before the extortion took place, leaving investigators baffled by the intricate connections. Later, again, 2 others placed themselves in the spotlight. In December of 2020, Patrick Tier from Belfast and Adrian Holland from Derry were charged with Lawler's murder based on plate recognition and cell phone site analysis. Holland owned the house on Etna Drive where the murder took place, while Tier allegedly met Sligo-based gangster Barry Young in a hotel just a couple of weeks before the hit. According to police, it was then and there that the murder was commissioned on behalf of a major gangland alliance of Mr. Big, Owen Maguire and Cornelius Price, orchestrated through intricate prison connections. Police now believe that in retaliation for the Mulready Woods murder, Price paid over €100,000 to get Lawler assassinated. Price's cunning plan involved setting up Lawler with a rival group, feigning a hit job in Belfast. The intended target remained safely hidden while the assassin waited for Lawler to walk into his own execution. The elaborate scheme resulted in Lawler's demise, leading Price to toast his rival's death in a chilling selfie video. Patrick Tier and Adrian Holland are expected to go on trial later in 2024, and police are still making arrests in the case. While the mystery surrounding his murder persists, one thing remains certain: Robbie Lawlor's reign of terror may have ended, but his legacy will haunt Ireland for years to come. Thank you for joining us on Crime Chronicles today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the channel with your friends.